Hi everyone, Tammy here. Welcome to my bookshelf. Today I'm going to share some current reads with you. First of all, two of them are hard copies and two of them are audiobooks. And yeah, typically I don't have this many books going on right now, but what can I say? So the audiobooks, let's talk about those first. Believe it or not, I don't know what happened. I don't know why this occurred, but I never read 1984 in high school. I have never read that book. I don't know why. I thought that was a thing. I thought everybody in high school had to read George Orwell's 1984. Somehow that didn't happen with me. I'm at a loss. And I will say, probably I was not going to enjoy it back then because right now it is not my favorite. It's not my favorite read. I'm listening to it on Audibles and yeah, it's kind of boring. Stuff's finally starting to happen, but you know, there's a lot of backstory. However, that said, I have to say, I can see why this is a book that everybody in the world should read. And in fact, considering the way things are in the world right now, I would say it should be read now and, you know, taken to heart, very much so when you think about social media and things like AI and, you know, Alexis in our homes listening to what we're saying and doing. So yeah, definitely put that on your to-read list. Force yourself to read it, just like I am. The message is incredibly important. Granted, the pace is slow compared to what we typically like to read, and I'm having to kind of like calm myself down because I you know, like most people, I want things to happen. But yes, 1984 was actually published in 1949, and that is really something to think about as you're reading it. But in fact, if you've read 1984, down in the comments, let me know your thoughts about it. Like I said, I'm not loving the read, but I'm getting through it a little bit at a time. In the meantime, in between listening to that now and then, I'm also listening to a book by Emily Henry called Beach Read. I have a couple of hours left of it. I really enjoyed it. It's my second listen as far as Emily Henry goes. I listened to Book Lovers, and I'm actually trying to, I'm going to read in person, as in physical book, some Emily Henry. I really like her work. It is definitely has the romance theme that I like, but I feel like she's got other layers to her work, so I do enjoy that. Beach Read is about two writers who, you know, coincidentally went to college with each other and just happened to have beach houses next to each other. And of course there's some sort of tension between the two because he thinks this about her and he thinks that. And there's all these, you know, miscommunication, that sort of thing. But they end up befriending each other, and both of them are working through personal issues. He has trust issues. I guess she has trust issues too, now I say that. And in fact, I can see now why when I went to my library to try to check out some Emily Henry, all her books were checked out, so I had to put a hold on a couple of books that I'm looking to read by her. So those are the two audiobooks I'm listening to right now, George Orwell's 1984 and Emily Henry's Beach Read. On to the physical books. I have been trying to go through books in my office, in my home. And when I did that, I found this book that I read many, many years ago, Slaves of New York, okay? It's by Tama Joanowitz. I remember I loved this book. So it's a collection of short stories, which is kind of nice. I've read a couple of short stories and then I stopped because of the next book that I picked up. But it's very funny. I'm curious to see, because this, speaking of 1984, I believe that's about the time this was published. Actually, it was published in 1986, so kind of close, all right? And it's got a lot of quirky characters. Obviously, a lot of the setting is in New York. She has, you know, strange artsy-fartsy characters who are, you know, on the edge and of society, and it's just funny and goofy. I've read the first couple of stories at this point. Like I said, I'm setting it aside for a while because I have another book I started, but I do want to read this again before I decide whether I'm going to pass it on or not. But like I was about to say, I'm curious to see if the time period, if this is timely still, I guess I want to say, because this is 2023. And this is definitely has the 1980 vibe to it, and I'm a 1980s chick. I remember I loved this book, so we'll see if I really love it again. Finally, I did pick this one up at the library. I did a recent video showing some of my little library haul. This one is Meet Me in Paradise by Libby Hubsher, if I'm saying that name correctly. I am definitely enjoying this. It's very predictable and it's a little hokey, okay? So there's that. But I still like it, okay? It's got the point of view of two sisters. One is the main character, Marin, and then her sister, Sadie. Sadie basically tricks Marin into going on a trip, a girls' trip, but then Sadie doesn't show up, even though we hear Sadie. So, like, there's one long chapter that is in Marin's point of view, and then Sadie will come in for like a page or two and talk about her point, about what's going on with her, and then we go back to Marin for a chapter or two. So it's interesting. We're still getting both sisters' perspective, which that's one of the things I like about it. Like I said, it's very hokey, you know, it's a little too contrived, but I'm still enjoying it. So I believe I'm going to finish it. How far have I gotten? I haven't gotten super far. I'm on page 78, okay, and it's about a 300-some page book. So I'm not quite, you know, a third of the way done. So yeah, so we'll see what happens with that. I think I'm going to keep liking it. I do think I'll finish it. Lately, in fact, I've been telling myself if I'm not into something, I'm not going to finish it. But I think I'm going to be able to handle this. It's an enjoyable read. It's a nice escapist, silly read, and there's humor in it, so I am enjoying it. All right, so those are my books. Let me know in the comments down below if you have read any of them. Like I said, really curious about those who have listened or read as a physical book, 1984. Especially if you read it in high school, was it torturous? Because I suspect it probably was. You know, I was a pretty voracious reader in high school, but I think this one would have. I think I would have had some problems with this one. But anywho, thank you again for stopping by. I always appreciate a thumbs up and your support as a subscriber. And thanks for seeing what's on my bookshelf. Bye-bye.